Fox News Alert with just 1 week to the hour before a new president is sworn in. Another political bombshell is engulfing Washington. The Department of Justice's Inspector General has announced he will now investigate the FBI Director James Comey's handling of the probe into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. And his late October public letter about that case, which reignited the Democratic nominee's email controversy just days before the election, he's going to look into that, too. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. Here today, Meghan McCain, host of After the Bell on Fox Business. Right next to me, Melissa Francis. Also from Fox Business, Dagan McDowell. And today's hashtag, one lucky guy, BK is in the house. The co-host of Fox and Friends and the host of Kilmeade, the K, and Friends on Fox News Talk. We welcome back to the couch Brian Kilmeade. We say you're outnumbered, but mostly just loved.
Well, that's very nice. Do you speak for everyone on the couch?
Yeah, they let me know if I don't.
Well, Dagan lives next to me on the 17th floor on the upstairs, okay. And everybody else, it's pretty much, I have to go on your word. Used to the walls at Dagan.
So you will tell no secrets about me in sweatpants and a dirty T-shirt.
That's when I see
Is that how you ensure friendship these
Yes,
days?
absolutely.
Okay, good to know. We have a very busy news day, so let's get started. And we will begin with the new controversy that is roiling Washington, as they say. FBI Director James Comey says he will cooperate fully with an investigation by the DOJ's Watchdog into his actions before the presidential election. At issue is whether Director Comey violated established Justice Department protocols and procedures when he announced last July the FBI would not recommend charges against Hillary Clinton. And later, when he sent letters to members of Congress that the investigation had been reopened. That happened just days before the presidential election. The announcement of that investigation is sparking plenty of reaction from both sides today. For Democrats, such as former Clinton campaign spokesman Brian Fallon, this is welcome news.
The deviations from the protocols at the FBI and the Justice Department were so glaring and egregious. I still think if this election had been held 10 days earlier, prior to the sending of Jim Comey's letter, Hillary Clinton would be the 45th president of the United States.
But President-elect Donald Trump is expressing himself in social media, as he often does, taking to Twitter to blast the investigation as more sour grapes. Here's what he wrote. What are Hillary Clinton's people complaining about with respect to the FBI based on the information they had? She should never have been allowed to run. Guilty as hell. They were very nice to her. She lost because she campaigned in the wrong states. No enthusiasm. Meanwhile, syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer believes Democrats are trying to delegitimize the Trump presidency even before it starts.
It looks as if the Democrats, on their way out the door, are trying to leave behind as many landmines as they can to at least cast doubts on the legitimacy of the Trump victory.
So leaving a landmine, a stinky pile of poo, or, as the Democrats are saying, oh, thank goodness, right on time.
I can't, I think Charles Krauthammer, again, for a change, is right on the money. I'm being sarcastic, because he seems to always be. But think about what has taken place. Remember, right after the election, everybody knows, first it was the electoral system's bad. Why are we still using it? The popular vote really is to people speaking out. Then we're going to have the recount, because Jill Stein knows everything, and she ran such a strong campaign. She's going to make sure those blue states didn't really turn red, and they did. Then the fake news was the issue. Then blend the Russia, that's still in play. And now we find out that we have to reevaluate what James Comey did. Why was he in that impossible situation? Because of what Hillary Clinton did. And he said this, and I don't know if you guys believe it. He says, I'm grateful to the Department of Justice, IG, for taking on this review. He is professional and independent. I don't know if you believe that, but on some level, if James Comey's as upstanding as everyone says he is, he probably says, listen, if any one of you think you're there, take a look.
Yeah. That's interesting, because that's slightly a different thing than what he's saying. He's not saying if you could have done better. He's just saying take a look. It is an interesting question, though, Melissa.
I mean, I think it's dangerous to conflate too many things. Putting this together with the election, separate it out and just look at what he did. And a lot of people say he did violate protocol of the FBI. I don't know what that means, but I do know he is the chattiest FBI director of all time. I mean, right?
Yes.
When have you ever seen the FBI director come out and announce, well, we're going to do this, and then we looked at this, and now we're going to do this? It does seem like all that was really unnecessary. Why is he so chatty? I mean, is he looking for coffee partners? What's the deal?
Well, why are the Democrats so so happy about this.
I have never seen anything like this when it comes to the Democrats' complete and utter inability to take ownership of their failures. I've been a part of losing campaigns. When you are a part of a losing campaign, you have to reflect on what exactly went wrong. And a lot went wrong with Hillary Clinton's campaign. And the idea that all the blame is going to be placed on James Comey, I find just absolutely absurd. That being said, James Comey is so politicized. And you can find Republicans and Democrats everywhere who don't like him. I don't know why he continues to want this job.
Right.
I think at this point, the FBI is so politicized. We have leaks coming out everywhere of information that hasn't been confirmed, possibly doing detriment to Donald Trump and his presidency before he's been in office. I still stand by what I said yesterday, that I think James Comey should step down. I think we need new blood, new leadership. He's so politicized. He's so controversial. I think it does nothing but bad things for the morale of the intelligence
Well,
community.
unfortunately for him, though, Dagan, that wouldn't quiet this investigation, likely.
He's got to go. The Wall Street Journal editorial page, following up on your thought, Megan, says that the incoming Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, needs to ask him to resign. And if he won't resign, then Donald Trump needs to fire him. And he has the authority to do that. He's lost the trust of people in Washington. The people of this entire country don't see him as kind of an independent figure any longer. And during the summer, which Republican was happy with the way that he handled the Hillary Clinton investigation? And one reason he's been so chatty is because Loretta Lynch completely abdicated her responsibility as the Attorney General, meeting Bill Clinton on the tarmac. But remember, he cut immunity deals with Heather Samuelson and Cheryl Mills that were unnecessary, and then said, oh, and then we'll destroy your computers after the fact. So he mishandled the Clinton investigation and mishandled.
Is that going to be looked at, too? Is that going to be looked at as well? So the whole process, not just the October decision and not just the July decision.
But you pose such an interesting question, and I want to put a finer point on it. Who could have done better within his department, and why didn't that person get put into the position of looking at this? Because clearly after July 5th, when he was vacillating and then came out and said, no way, no charges, clearly something needed to be looked at just based on what we found out later in the summer.
It's just, the thing is, the reason why he should not be fired, I think, is because everybody's mad at him. The Republicans were mad at him because he came out and didn't
but aren't they mad because he didn't do his job well? You want to leave him in there if he didn't do his job well?
What part did he do well? Was he wrong to speak badly about Hillary Clinton?
They're going to investigate.
But was he wrong to speak badly about Hillary Clinton's behavior and decisions, yet not indict? Was he wrong to say we got to reinvestigate because of the 150,000 emails we found on Anthony Weiner's lap, which I don't even like saying lap and Weiner, but where is he wrong?
Laptop. Does that help?
That would be better.
Yeah, it was a laptop.
So I'm just wondering, how could he be wrong on everything?
Can I interject really quickly? I do think all these leaks right now, I think the fact that you clearly have a problem with security within your own administration, forget all the stuff with Hillary Clinton. At this very moment, you could actually be doing harm to our president before he's actually, inaugurated into office. And that can be very dangerous. I have real problems with these fake leaks that have come out, as we've talked about all week on the couch. And it's just, he's got some problems.
Well, someone's leaking to CNN. We know that.
Yes.
Why does he even want the job anymore, though? I mean, that was a great point that you made. I mean, he's been lambasted from every side. Everything he does at this point is wrong. You're right. No one trusts him any longer. And maybe it's not deserved. I mean, poor guy. But give me a break. Who's
You mentioned 150,000 emails, and I know they use some algorithms and some things to get through that. But it does beg the question, since he basically came out to the same conclusion as he did on July 5th, why did he go through that gymnastics move? And was that political? And if it was, then why would he, in fact, want the job? Why wouldn't he keep it?
I'll pose it back to you. If you're James Comey and you get word from a department that's already a little upset at you that I have agents
you
here,
were
we
use a
found
different
these.
Word.
We found yes. They're already pretty few, and now these agents go, listen, I just found a whole bunch of emails regarding Abedin, bringing it home to Anthony Weiner, and we have to take a look at this. There's reason to believe there's something here, and I'm going to be transparent and tell you we're looking at it. So if Donald Trump loses, and we find out 2 weeks later that agents in September told him about these hidden emails, then he looks like he's scandalous for suppressing the information.
That's up to how he handled the Clinton investigation to begin with, where he makes an excuse saying we're not going to indict her for gross negligence, but I'm going to call it something else. Even what did he call it? And then
he basically couched it as stupid.
And then he interviewed her at the end of the investigation, which was just political.
On a holiday weekend for a couple of hours.
Please.
He was just compounding the initial mistake. He did have to come back out and say, hey, listen, we're looking at this because agents brought it to us, but that's only because he was so chatty in the first place. If he hadn't had that first confessional with everyone talking about the investigation and why he wasn't going to indict, he wouldn't have had to come out again. So just zip it.
I want to get back to something that you brought up, though, that meeting on the tarmac with Loretta Lynch of the DOJ. And her regret now is that it went on longer than it should have, which rang bells in my head as, well, I guess it wasn't impromptu then. It must have been on the calendar if you were planning for a shorter meeting.
Right. Whatever happened to Mr. President, I'm not talking to you, but again, I think that it was her lack of responsibility in the job as Attorney General, where she's talking to the former president when she knows that she should not. She never impaneled a grand jury on the matter to begin with. Again, abdication of her job.
But Harris, there's no way, if there was no Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, there's no way there would have ever been a Hillary Clinton indictment. You would not have known almost anything. No reason to prosecute. Republicans would have been outraged, but we didn't even have the explanation about what happened. The chattiness benefited us. Helped the show,
but at the same,
also revealed his line of thinking.
Yeah. But at the same time, you have General Petraeus stepping down for much less of a security breach than Hillary Clinton is compromised with her emails. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on with this as well. I think the cut and dry of this, as Melissa, you pointed out, there's a lack of trust with the FBI right now. I think across the board, Republicans and Democrats, that's a serious problem for President Trump, for all of Americans, and he's a figurehead for controversy and hypocrisy.
And look at the role of the FBI now as we find out that we were hacked by Russia. I mean, it's part of our trust in the FBI and all of these agencies is paramount.
He's the top cop. He's supposed to have since back in this country. And I had struggled to name one person who says, yeah, he's got my back. Yeah, he's not political.
But he was the same guy that took on the Bush administration, who was trying to bully him into signing something that John Ashcroft was too incapacitated to sign. That's where they said, yeah, you might be a Republican how you vote, but you show me a bipartisanship. That's why Barack Obama's FBI director.
That was a while ago.
Well, his buddy, remember, pursued Scooter Libby. He pursued Frank Quattrone, the investment banker, just vehemently, who Quattrone ulted. So he has some questionable dealings in his past.
Right, but you can't let him go now before the investigation moves forward. Now, if you just say let him go.
Well, if he quits, he quits.
No,
I mean, if he hands in his resignation, I don't think that you can stop that, right?
But we need some finality. We can't let him
still investigate.
You know what we need? We need more outnumbered, so we got to go. But I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm chatty. I hope I'm too chatty for Melissa.
No, we're good. We got to be chatty. That's our job. It's not his job. It's our job.
President-elect Donald Trump now is blaming his political opponents, both Democrats and Republicans.